Good morning, Gerald. Thank you so much for bringing us in today. It's been such an honor. You've been such a mentor to me in my experience learning how to join the adventure race circuit. It was my honor and my privilege to be here today on behalf of Riverstone Consulting Group with my esteemed colleagues Bryce and Eric to present to you our analysis of the Bergen Adventure Company. Before we start with our analysis, I'd like to quickly discuss an agenda as to what we'll be going into today. First, we'll discuss why we are here, what are the problems that Bergen Adventure is facing, and how are some solutions. We'll discuss a brief situational analysis going into some strengths and weaknesses of your organization, as well as some opportunities and some threats facing you in the market outside externally. We'll then discuss what should be considered when making a decision, a few primary issues and some secondary issues will be analyzed, and a decision criteria will be formulated. Finally, we'll go into some alternatives that are available, present our recommendation, and discuss with you an in-depth 5-year implementation plan. At the very end, we'll discuss some of the risks and a mitigation plan for those risks as well, before we open the floor to Gerald and your team for some questions. So the reason we're here today, the primary issue and the focus of why we've come in, is to discuss whether or not you, Gerald, should commit entirely to the Bergen model and the Bergen Adventure Company. You have a great stable situation right now, but you must make a decision very soon as to how much you intend to commit to this company. Secondary issues include, with Bergen Adventure, the distribution channels you wish to pursue, the marketing challenges, as well as some financing issues that are going to come up if you follow through with us or our intentions. Situational and your strengths, and this is the real focus of what we're so happy to be here for. Gerald, you're a driven and experienced entrepreneur with some incredible skills that you've built over years in the industry, and that's something that's really, really valuable to the Bergen. You also have a unique product with an incredibly new and interesting drinking system and a relationship with a Chinese manufacturer that is surprisingly, as you've noted with me in discussions and with my team as well, surprisingly stable, and you can't trust them. Some weaknesses, however, include the full-time job you're currently holding, which limits your ability to work on some of the projects and some of the expansion and some of the ideas that you have with Bergen. There's also issues with the lack of capital. You've taken out some debt, you've taken out a line of credit against your apartment, as well as used up all your mutual funds. And you're still working on very much a shoestring budget, and that's something that we want to try to help you with as we watch Bergen grow. Some opportunities for you externally in the market are the growing market for reusable bottles. Currently, the steel reusable bottle market is a $200 million market with 15% growth annually. That's an extraordinary opportunity for you and for your team. The military market is also an interesting opportunity. You discussed with us in meetings with the AAFES, and that's an opportunity for you to become the first private company to come in and really change the military-style canteens that they've been using for so long. Some of the threats include replication of your product. Chinese manufacturers are unfortunately infamous for coming up with copycats. That's something we need to be wary of when we're beginning to export our products on a wide range. There's also low barriers to entry into the market. In this market, you've come up with a product that you designed in about 60 hours on AutoCAD software, and you've been able to enter the market relatively seamlessly thus far. Obviously, there will be bumps along the road, but it's proven to us that there is not much stopping other competitors from coming in with similar products. So the decision criteria we're presenting today, we have 4 decision criteria. The first is feasibility. Any alternative that we select as a recommendation and implementation plan must be feasible for you, for Bergen, and for everyone involved. The second is financial responsibility. We know that you're extremely strapped for cash right now. We want to make sure that any expansion doesn't put too much stress on your personal finances nor the finances of the company. Thirdly, we show some fueling productivity. We intend to fuel the productivity of your company through effective management and leadership. We believe you have the experience necessary, and we want to expand on that to make sure that your company is maximizing its opportunities. Finally, risk is a decision criteria we cannot afford to ignore. Anytime you start a new venture such as this one, there's going to be considerable risk. We have to worry about how we're going to analyze, mitigate, and respond to those risks in a proper fashion. At this point, I'm going to introduce my colleague Bryce, who's going to bring up some of the alternatives that we've discussed and that we'd like to present to you today.
Jill, I want to say once again, it is an honor to be presenting for you today and talking with you. When we sit here, your ability to be innovative, your drive, and your need for adrenaline is what really drives you, your company, and anything you can come up with, what brings you to success. Now it's that, along with these criteria here, we believe that you can bring this company to something profitable and actually make it grow and become successful. So we're actually going to go into that a little more. So here with a few alternatives that we believe that would gather all your abilities and potential of the company and actually roll out and become successful, like I mentioned before. So the first one we came up with here is what you mentioned to us. Let's do a 1-year unpaid sabbatical and focus on Bergen. Right now, you mentioned you can take that whole 1 year off. Why not take advantage of that and do that? Go out there, learn your market, study your competitors, figure out your distribution channel, and figure out what you have to do, what needs to be done. You've got that 1 year to figure it out one time. We want to pull this one thing out so that you are aware of this, and what you told us. The downfall of that, again, is the potential of the one-for-your promotion. Your job is offering you a slightly bigger bonus for a different working job, brand new opportunity. So that's something to be aware of. We want to point out that being the entrepreneur that you are, you know you can take this up. Again, success, keyword we're working on here. Number 2 is working on, so focus on your brand and job. I mean, Bergen, again, will remain dormant at this time. Again, you mentioned to us, this might be an option you want to pursue. Something you can sit on, wait till the market transforms, turns out, you can judge it at that point. But again, you're waiting stale, not doing anything with it. Again, I want to point out, you're an entrepreneur, you have that drive. We recommend that you do something with this product, but this is an option you did put onto us, and I want to reiterate that. Number 3 is find partners. Time constraint. It's one of the most important things you point out to us. Any other job you took on, the time was the problem. You find a partner, someone you can work with, you split that task up, you split that time. And when you do that, the work will obviously decreases, and you can actually capture that market more. So that is an alternative I want you to consider. The licensed version model. Again, we're working with time here. Why not still be partially involved with the company here? License out the technology for another distributor, another manufacturer to take care of. It's like work this on a monthly or yearly basis. Again, you're part of the company. It's something you came up with. Why not stick with it? And last year, sell the ideas, the design, the intellectual property. You can fully get out of this company this time being. We did a bit of number crunching on our side, some valuation, looked at the markets, and we believe that you can get a great value for this company here. Once again, the product's brilliant. I gotta say that. I mean, we do respect that. And what you've done with that is absolutely amazing, and there is market potential. So selling your idea is definitely an option. So to those alternatives, we analyzed them, we came up with a solution here what we believe will work best for you. So on the scale from 1 to 5, 1 of course being the worst, something we don't recommend going for, and number 5 being the good, something you recommend you definitely look towards. So on that note, we look at the feasibility, the financial responsibility, fueling productivity, risk. If you add those all up, you can know that on the board up here, the sabbatical and fund partners are the 2 highest options, 2 highest alternatives. Now we're going to work with that. We're actually going to take both of these alternatives, not just one or the other. We believe that these are the 2 strongest points and you can work with that. And we're going to show you how. I'm going to introduce Eric here, who's going to come in and show you how you can implement these alternatives and turn it into that success that I keep talking about.
Thank you, Bryce. So what we at Riverstone did for you is we took an implementation plan and broke it up into 3 horizons. Horizon 1 is the implementation plan that we estimate would take about 3 months from today. Right now we're in March of 2009, so we estimate that this would be concluded in June of 2009. And the first thing that you're going to have to do is acquire financing. That has to be your main focus in the next 3 months if you take our recommendation to follow through on it. The second horizon would be more working with your distributors. You have a great product, you need to determine which store shelves you want to get that product on, whether you want to sell it online, you need to answer all these questions and make these agreements, and that's going to take up to a year, we estimate. So that will be concluded in June of 2010. And furthermore, we have a third horizon for marketing, which I'll go over later on in the presentation, which should be concluded in June of 2015. So, with regards to financing, obviously we have 2 options for financing, debt or equity. And we at Riverstone took a hard look at both options. And we strongly recommend the equity route. Now, the problem with debt right now, Gerald, is that you're saddled with that line of credit with your Toronto apartment, and you've cashed out all your mutual funds. Furthermore, this is a new venture, and bankers tend to think that new ventures are risky. So you'll be paying high interest rates with debt, and you might even be subject to restrictive debt covenants, which could restrict the direction you want to take your business in. And that's why we've chosen equity. Again, Rory alluded to effective management and leadership earlier in the presentation. We at Riverstone recognize the value of human capital. Right now, you're kind of new to this industry, and if you take an equity partner who has strong experience and a background in the reusable water bottle industry, we feel that that can be paramount to the success. We valued Bergen Adventure Company at $675,000. We had some spirited debate about this valuation, and at the end of the day, what we decided was we projected net income for the next year, and we used an industry multiplier of 2. Again, industry multipliers in this industry tend to be higher. However, you are a new venture, you're riskier, and so we feel that this is an appropriate conservative estimate of the company value. You will need a new equity partner to inject $300,000 into Bergen bottle. And the reason that you're going to need that is to cover some of the fixed costs of getting new molds created and etc. So, again, I cannot stress enough the addition of expertise and contacts that would come with an equity partner or multiple partners. And we feel you should be willing to give up 50% ownership control of the company for that. Now we move on to Horizon 2, which would take 1 year. And there's obviously a number of different ways that you can distribute the Bergen bottle. And so we took a hard look at each one of them. We recommend you begin with general merchandisers. These are large retailers such as Walmart, Target, and right now they constitute about 50 to 60% of the reusable water bottle market. That is too big a piece of the pie to ignore. So, in the analysis we did, we looked at some of the numbers you gave us, some of the information we had. We expect that in the first year you could sell 104,000 units for gross sales of $1,560,000. And now, with general merchandisers, we've actually broken up our analysis of variable costs, and there's a good reason for that. In this industry, shipping, again, from China over to North America and then getting into all these retailers, that's a cost borne by you, the manufacturer, in this industry. That's just the way it is. It is not borne by the retailer. And so we estimate that that would cost $197,600. Again, this is for the first year. Furthermore, retailers such as Walmart or Target tend to heavily discount products on a regular basis, and that's something that they do not take out of their bottom line. That comes out of Bergen. Again, it's just a sacrifice you're going to have to make to be able to deal with these large retailers. And so we factor that variable cost in there as well. So at the end of this analysis, we have an estimated gross profit from mass merchandisers of $587,000 or $587,000. Now, the second distribution channel we feel you should go after next is sporting goods retailers, specifically Dick's Sporting Goods. Again, Gerald, we spoke with Stephen Layton at the conference a week or two ago, and he is a buyer of Dick's Sporting Goods and expressed strong interest. In fact, there was a follow-up telephone call, etc., etc. And so, we feel that if you can demonstrate success with the mass merchandisers, this is a logical next step. Furthermore, you'll hopefully by then have some real cash flow and profits that you can reinvest to make this distribution channel happen. We estimate that you will be able to sell about 25,000 units. The variable cost per unit is $2.95. That's pretty low because you're bringing a large quantity over from China. That's a real advantage when you bring over a large quantity, that variable cost goes down. The retail price per unit, the price to the end consumer, would be $15. However, Dick's takes 30% of this for their own profit. And so Bergen's expected profit with this approach is $262,500. We looked at online distribution, and in fact, it's a fact of the industry that 20 to 40% of sales are done online. So we took a hard look at this, but at the end of the day, we decided that this should not be pursued. We do not feel this is for Bergen Adventure Company. First off, online retailers tend to charge about a 50% margin on the selling price, which is much higher than the other retail distribution channels. They have a tendency to heavily discount the product, which again is passed on to you. And another thing of concern there is you could actually have some brand confusion amongst the populace if you have your product priced high in brick and mortar retail stores and then lower on the internet. we don't want that to happen for you. But perhaps the most important point here is that a bird bottle is a product that needs to be held by the consumer. Again, you have that unique cap, and that is something that the consumer needs to hold in their hand when they're making the purchase decision. So you discounted the online distribution option. The last one, and this was actually quite interesting for us, was the agreement with AAFES, the military retailer. And we feel that if you have success with sporting goods retailers and mass merchandisers, this is the last and final distributor you should then go to. We did a one-year analysis of this retailer or distributor, and again, the expected unit sales would be 50,000. The variable cost of $4.43 is higher than the $2.95 mentioned for a previous distributor. The reason for that, again, is that the military wants these water bottles to be 50% larger, and so you're going to have more raw materials going into them, driving up the variable cost. So that's why that difference is there. You wouldn't have a one-time fixed cost of $100,000 to make the molds to do these new water bottles, but at the end of the day, we feel you should do it. You sell these to the distributor for $20, bringing you expected revenues in the first year of $500,000 with an expected profit of just over $289,000. We then looked at Horizon 3, and we understand, Gerald, you're very concerned about building a brand, which currently you don't really have. So, we recommend going after print advertising, and the reason we say this is we believe this is the best medium to communicate the benefits of your water bottle. We feel that sports magazines are an obvious choice. Again, you're an adrenaline sports junkie. You fit with the brand. We feel that enthusiasts and readers of these magazines will also fit with the brand. You could also explore co-branding opportunities with eco-friendly water companies, sports drinks. Again, you've mentioned to us in our meetings with you how important the environment is, and so you can definitely find a logical partnership with the company and split some of the marketing costs there. We took a real hard look at what kind of market share goal you should have at the end of this implementation plan. And we at Riverstone believe that 15% is a reasonable goal. Right now there's large, vicious competitors out there. I'm not going to show you what. There's Nalgene, there's a bunch of competitors. And at the end of the day, we feel that if we capture 15% of the market, which I remind you is a $700 million market, growing at 15% per year, this could be a very lucrative and profitable business. And now, at this point, I would like to re-invite my colleague Rory up to the stage to discuss potential risks of innovation.
Thank you so much, Eric. Obviously, any plan, any entrepreneurial endeavor like this carries with it significant risk. We've chosen 4 primary risks that we wanted to analyze today, and we wanted to consult with you more on these in the future as well. The first is obviously unsatisfactory sales. We've set sales targets and established the budget based off of those, but what should happen should those sales targets not be reached? Our mitigation strategy includes the military contract, which is a relatively stable contract, a safe contract, and something that you can rely on to be almost guaranteed sales. You can also differentiate your product offering. You have a unique cap, and something that can be transferred onto other drinking products, such as travel mugs or coffee cups, or things like that. You're also maybe unable to meet demand just due to timing issues with the shipping from China. Our mitigation strategy there is to expand your manufacturing base within China, as well as expand your warehouse in Toronto so that you are able to keep more product in Canada. Also, air freight is an option, although it is extremely expensive. We believe that if it became necessary, you should be able to do that if it came down to it. Next would be overstock, meaning you have more stock than you can move, and your warehousing costs get too high. The solution then is to lower prices to move volume. This is a price-driven market. There is considerable competition. If you can lower your price to move that volume, we believe you will be able to manage your stock and your inventory in Toronto. Finally, copycat products. As I mentioned earlier, there is a penchant, some may say in China, for copycat products to emerge from other manufacturers. And we believe if you obtain all the necessary patents in all the countries and defend them and diversify your manufacturing if necessary to make the product more difficult to copy, you will be able to protect yourself from that, and you will be able to mitigate a lot of these risks. At this point, Gerald, I would be so thankful. We're so thankful for allowing you to come in here and talk. We'd like to open the floor to any questions that you and your team may have for us.
suitable partner that is not willing to go in with the amount of capital necessary. You can always pursue other business angels, venture capital firms. And as well, obviously, you've been successful in obtaining debt financing in the past. So perhaps taking out a bank loan and pledging other personal assets as collateral could be an option, although we do recommend you really exhaust the equity option first.
And do you think that valuation is reasonable?
Yeah, I think given it's a conservative estimate by our math and by the work that we've done internally. We believe that despite being a brand new company, you've noted to us, Gerald has noticed that there's tremendous potential for growth, and we've definitely taken that into mind when we value the company.
How did you come up with a goal of 3% for the usual waterfall market for Britain?
When we were talking internally, we never got any firm targets. We never really decided on a concrete absolute minimum. But we felt that 15% was a reasonable amount for a company, for a product like this, which is completely unique and has a great opportunity. The push to drink to cap is a very valuable asset, and we believe that that alone is a huge selling point. And so we thought with that, 15% over 5 years was a lot.
What will your timeline for the different horizons what you call it? You know, from how things connected from first horizon to second horizon to your timelines?
The financing in the first horizon was to take 3 months. Then it would be a year for the distribution, horizon number 2. And then 5 years after that to establish a solid brand.
You had mentioned here one of your horizons implementation was to pursue the AAFS and then moving on to the DICS, etc. So how do you see that, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3?
Yeah. Within Horizon 2, another reason we structured it so that you first start with mass merchandisers, then sporting goods, and then finally the military retailer, was the mass merchandisers take less time to make a decision to put a product on the shelf. They traditionally take 2 to 3 months, whereas sporting goods stores then take about 5 to 6 months. And so we felt that in terms of building a profitability to reinvest and cash flow, but also in terms of what these distributors can do in terms of making decisions, that's how we structured it. So all of that would take place throughout the year, starting with mass merchandisers, ultimately ending in the military.
So 1 year, everything was clear.
Yes.
And at what stage do you see the company generating free cash flow?
It could happen relatively soon, versus what you finished for me. We believe that there are obviously significant costs already that you do need to cover. We believe in the next couple of years you should be just going to generate free cash flow.
Did you factor defending the patents and other transfers as far as your profit projections?
Within the patents, what we looked at, what provided to us here was we just meeting with U.S. patents. That was not actually considered at that point in time. But we would like to review, use a little more time, a little more research to look into that. We'll provide you that over the next week possible.
I'd like to ask a little bit more about the free cash flow. So, did you do any cash flow analysis looking at each overlaying on Horizon 1, Horizon 2, Horizon 3, and how that all Horizon 2?
Unfortunately, we didn't really have time constraints on this project and the information to put together a solid pro forma cash flow statement. However, we recommend to you that if you feel that cash flow could be a problem, go to your suppliers and your customers to try and fix that problem. So for example, with the supplier in China, the manufacturer, instead of having net 30, maybe try and negotiate net 60, 90, or 120. And then again, with the
Thank you.
retail.
That concludes the question.